Sarah claims that she grew up with you, her sister. We just want to make sure this is accurate and she's not just telling us stories. This is legit?
This is legit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Erased
Listen,
with, yeah, Mississauga
I just had to,
But our dads are friends. Yeah,
Okay.
Our parents are friends. Yeah, then the boys.
Katie, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
So this is exciting because this will be your second Olympic Games. Last one, bit of a weird one, but you were at the forefront of trying to get women in the Olympics to compete in canoeing, right? And so, dare I say, you were kind of like a lobbyist on behalf of this cause. And so it's not just you competing in this event, this is something that is really true and near and dear to your heart. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Why was this such a big thing for you to fight for this on behalf of women all around the world, not just in Canada?
Yeah, so for me, growing up, I was always drawn to the Olympics. I think I always wanted to go to the Olympics, or I definitely always wanted to be an Olympian. And I was a pretty high energy kid, and I competed in a lot of different sports growing up. And I got into canoeing just through summer camp. It was just a couple kilometers from my house growing up, so that was how our family got involved. And just over time, it just became something that I really was really drawn to and really pulled to. But I always wanted to be an Olympian. And kind of as I was coming up, the conversations were starting about women's canoe going to the Olympics and its entry and all these things, and it just resonated with me, and it just felt like the right thing to do. It was like a gut feeling. I was like, this is the sport that I want to do, and I want to see what I can do. I was good at it too, which helped. But we didn't know the potential of the sport yet. We didn't know where it could go. We didn't know what it could be. And now coming out of Tokyo, continuing that and continuing to push it. And it's going to be really amazing, I think, when I walk away from the sport one day, knowing what I accomplished. I'm still in the moment, so it's still everyday challenges. Right. But even just looking back, 3 years ago it happened in Tokyo. I still feel like it's something it doesn't fully sink in yet, but I know it will be I feel really proud about it one day.
Do you feel like you guys are treated the same as your male counterparts in canoe?
Yeah, we actually have the same coach, so
okay.
We definitely are.
But in terms of Olympic Canada, everyone views, even though you guys are kind of the new kids on the block, it's all the same. You don't feel like there's any distinction?
No, absolutely, yeah. So I do feel it's definitely an equal playing field across all of our disciplines. So in canoe, kayak, we're also all kind of mixed together, the 4 teams, with para, so 5 teams. Mm-hmm. So yeah, our team has is a leader. I would say even our Canadian team is a leader in integrating women's canoe, being the leaders, being part of the change, and then we're seeing that be reflected globally, which is really cool to see. It's cool to see countries that 10 years ago would never have a women's canoe, and now they're on the podium. They're in the top 5, that country, and it should have always been like that. So it's been really kind of cool to see that, and then to also keep trying to beat those people.
Yeah, of course. A lot of people may look back on Tokyo with mixed emotions because it was during the pandemic and didn't feel like the full Olympic experience, but I wonder if it's a little bit different for you because it was historic, right? The first one. You also won a medal as well. So do you look back perhaps with maybe a little more fondness than some of your other, Team Canada members?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it was still a big moment for our sport and for our team. It did, you do wish that your family is there to see it and your friends, and globally for the sport, you just want it to be a celebrated moment. That was a really, a 20, 30-year fight to get from, a woman, handing out flyers about women's canoe at regattas in the late 90s and early 2000s to it actually being at the Olympics.
Wow, that long.
Yeah, that long of a solid effort. So, deep down, I just wish more people could have been there to just see it and be part of that moment.
Do you remember where you were, or what you were doing, or what the phone call was like when you got the word that it would be an Olympic sport?
Yeah, I think it would have been around 2016. I think it was official, something right around Rio. They announced it. I think it made me feel like I wouldn't, it gave me that purpose again, where I wouldn't have to maybe if I want to go to the Olympics, I can now. So there was definitely a sense of relief in that sense. But I think it was just more motivation, more excitement. We're okay, it's in there. But we don't just want to go and compete for Canada. We wanted, and this is, for Laurence and my C2 partner before Tokyo, we wanted to put the sport in a place that it looked legit. Like, we didn't want people questioning it. We didn't want people like coming up to us being like, oh, it doesn't belong. Like, you know, we had to take out men's events to put women's events in. We wanted to like make it legit and make it something that when people saw it, they didn't know that 5 years ago, this wasn't even happening at this level. So like, and a good example of this is like our world records that we set. So Laurence and I have the C2 world record. She has the C1 record that I'm trying to beat but haven't yet. I think just like they haven't been beaten for a reason. And that was because we tried to make the sport, or we did make the sport like so world class that if anyone wanted to challenge us, they had to be that good.
Can you talk about the dynamic of your relationship with your partner? Because like even you mentioned you want to try to beat the record, and you're in the trenches together, right? But you're also competing as well. So how do you balance the two?
It's hard. So so my partner Laurence has retired since Tokyo, but prior to Tokyo, we were working together, working against each other. So it was a very hard dynamic at times. But I think like what we always had, and we had our differences, like we were very different personalities and things like this. But we always had such a strong common purpose. And it was like, if you're gonna win, I wanna come second. Because that would be cooler than if you win and I'm eighth, right? So we like motivated each other in that sense. It's like, so if she beats me, which she did most of the time, I wanted to be second, because then we're both sharing that moment. And it's just, like we said, and then when we get in the boat together, we both want to win. So then it was a little easier as a dynamic because we were more aligned.
You were recently in Chile, right?
Yeah.
And you wrote on your Instagram about why Chile meant so much to you, kind of like a full circle moment in your career and life. Can you explain why?
Yeah, of course. So my other sport that I was interested in growing up was alpine skiing. And when I was younger, I went on this trip to Chile for skiing. And that was like my first sports trip, like out of like kind of Northeast, like we went to Vermont and stuff growing up. But like that was my first trip like out of North America on a plane, no parents. Just my teammates. And when we were landing in Chile, when we got there into San Diego, I just like had all these memories come back. Because I probably hadn't thought about it for 10 years. And I was just thinking of like all my skiing teammates, where they're at now, and just like the fun we had. And just like, I think it was those moments that you have as a kid that like for me was like why I did it. Like it was fun. I got to play sports. I got to hang out with my friends, and you only see the competing on TV, but the training is the 99% of it. And if you're not enjoying that part, if you're not having fun, it's going to be a really long journey for you. And I mean, you hear a lot of athletes talk about how hard it can be, and it definitely is. And the older I get, and the fun I had in Chile with my teammates, like at the Pan Am Games, like it reminded me of that first trip. And so it was kind of like full circle. Sorry, I get a little emotional.
Why does this make you so emotional?
I think it's just like as you get older, you just cherish it more. And like, I mean, I think I'm only going to be an athlete once. Right. Canoeing isn't a sport you pick up at 40, but I think as I get older, you're just more grateful for those opportunities and those experiences. And when they're fun, they're fun. We've had hard times, so when they're fun, you just cherish it a little bit more, I think. Yeah.
Would you have believed, some 10 years ago that you would be a two-time Olympian?
Probably. I was a pretty cocky kid.
Okay, you were. You don't seem very cocky. But...
Yeah, I've been humbled, but no, I think it was just like something I always wanted to be. And I remember like watching the Olympics growing up, and I used to have this cutout of a newspaper from the Beijing Games with all the medalists, and they were like biting it, and that was like on my wall growing up. And I just knew like I'm gonna be one of them one day. So yeah.
Why the Olympics? Like, why did it mean so much to you?
I was drawn to it. I just think it was what I was like pulled to growing up, and I had so much energy. Sport was just it for me. I feel like I belonged in sport. I didn't have any other like interest. Like I wasn't into music or art or anything like that. Like for me, it was always sport. And I think it's just where I knew from a very young age, like what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I didn't just want to be an Olympian. I wanted to win medals, and I wanted to to do that. And when I found the right sport and I found the right purpose, I think it connected me even more to that journey.
Speaking of the Pan Am Games, closing ceremonies, co-flag bearer, when you got that call or that word, what did that mean to you? How did that feel?
Yeah, it was, I think, you know, when you're an athlete, your goal is to compete well and to win medals and to be excellent in that way. And when they asked me to be the flag bearer, it felt like a step above that, because it's like I've been trying to be doing all these things and you know, Olympic medal, Pan Am Games gold from Chile. And so it just felt like they were the Olympic team and the Olympic committee. It was like a huge badge of honor, because it felt like they were saying, like, you represent our values and what we represent, and like, as we've just talked about, what the Olympics meant to me and being an Olympian. So when they asked me to do that, it was just like, almost like even more important than the medal. It was just like, wow, they do see me for who I am and they believe in my excellence. And that was really like, even right now, I'm just like, it's still like processing it. It's so cool. And there's so many incredible athletes that are like, I didn't think it was going to be me. Like, we had so many incredible performances in Chile and beyond Chile, and there's amazing stories of athletes. So for them to look at me and my story and what I've done, and to give me that honor, it was like, it's the actual carrying of the flag is a pretty small moment in time, but the meaning that it gave me and the value it gave me as an athlete, I think is beyond that a little bit more.
Well, I love the emotion. I love the passion and the drive. I wish you nothing but the best next summer. Can't wait to watch you compete. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
very much. Thank you.